Thomas is a kind-hearted and hard-working tank engine, but sometimes he can be rather cheeky to the big engines on the main line. When he met Gordon, he said, "Slow, coach. No wonder why you're not putting the express anymore." This angered Gordon. He grumbled about Thomas all day. Another time, he met Henry on a cloudy day. "You best be careful, Henry. It might rain and you go all rusty," teased Thomas. When Henry left, he asked his driver if there were any sheds along the way. The driver reassured him and told him that there was no rain at all. He met up with Emily as well and said, "You're such an old-fashioned engine. They should have kept you up in the museum at Vicarstown." Emily was fuming. She was so cross, as well as her crew, that she overran the platform. Emily's driver had stopped the train and was granted permission to pull back into the station by the signalman. In the yards, the crew members got together and discussed about Thomas's behavior. When they met up with Thomas's driver, they complained all about the little blue engine. "He's been upsetting the engines," they said. "Right, I'll give him a good talking to and I'll see you tomorrow." He then scolded at Thomas the next morning. "If you're cheeky again, I shall leave you in your shed," he said. "No one will drive you, and Daisy and Toby can't handle the passengers on their own." Thomas didn't like the idea at all. Thomas was waiting at Ellsbridge for James so he can get a clear path. When the red engine finally arrived, he was a bit late. "What's the matter, James? Getting old? On account you're very slow these days." James fumed at the remark. "Thomas, remember what I've said." Thomas felt annoyed. He apologized to James. "Sorry." Though not like that he means it. That evening, Thomas was nearing the last station for the day. As he was nearing the windmill, his driver put on the brakes. There were sheep on the tracks. "Wait here," said Thomas's driver as he climbed down from the footplate. Then he shooed the sheep away until he disappeared. Thomas found it odd that his driver hadn't returned. So did his fireman. How very odd, thought Thomas. "Where's my driver?" The fireman told Thomas to stay put, and he went to find the driver. Thomas waited, and waited, and waited, but his driver still didn't come back, neither his fireman. "Oh no," cried Thomas. "My driver said he would leave me if I hadn't stopped being cheeky, and he has, along with my fireman." Thomas was about to cry, when suddenly his guard sang out, "Gooey, fireman's here!" He rushed towards Thomas. "Quickly, Thomas! Bob had slipped and broke his ankle on some mud." "Oh no!" cried Thomas. His fireman took to the controls and puffed towards the driver. They stopped, and the guard and the fireman helped the driver aboard to the guard compartment. The guard called for an ambulance to wait for them at the junction. When Thomas's driver came back to work, Thomas was glad to see him again. "I'm sorry for not listening to you, driver. I'll try not to be so cheeky in future." "Glad to hear that, Thomas.